What's going on, guys? Nils Jonason here. USPSA just officially changed the division capacity limits for production division. And they upped it from 10 rounds to 15 rounds. And I was just checking out some Facebook stuff, and USPSA just made their announcement on January 31st. We are excited to announce that as of today, the USPSA production division capacity has been increased to 15 rounds. This change, approved at the December 18th board meeting, is now in effect. Additionally, new high hit factor for production division will be implemented starting from February 7th, 2024 classification run. The adjustment aims to enhance the competitive experience. Please stay tuned for the upcoming updates from the USPSA rulebook reflecting these changes. We encourage all members to review these updates to stay informed. We appreciate your commitment to the sport and look forward to seeing how those changes positively impact the competitions. So basically, USPSA increased the division capacity, or the magazine capacity, from 10 rounds to 15. This brings it more in line with IPSC. It also makes it so people that shoot both sports or both competitions don't have to change their equipment nearly as much. USPSA production over the last several years, I think, has been kind of waning as far as popularity and the number of participants, especially at a local level where there aren't, a national championship on the line. There are way less production shooters now than there were 5-6 years ago. So is that because there are 10-round mag capacity limits? Not necessarily. But I think making this 15-round mag capacity change is a positive thing. I think it's good. I think it'll bring some attention back to production. And the fact that it brings us in line with IPSC makes people's transitions from USPSA to IPSC a lot more streamlined. Anybody that wants to shoot the World Championship, for example, the IPSC World Shoot, if they shoot USPSA back in the day, they would have to add magazine pouches, for example, in USPSA because you only have 10 rounds. In IPSC, with 15 rounds, generally 4 or 5 mag pouches is the norm. In USPSA, running 10, I wouldn't want to run any less than 5. I'd prefer 6. And that's just in case something goes wrong, something happens on the stage. You want backup magazines, you want backup ammo. The old saying, better to have and not need than need and not have. Anyways, like I said, I think it's a positive change for the production division. It'll get more participation in that division, especially on that local level. Some of the cons to it, which everything has pros and cons, right? The biggest negative that I see is restricted states. So specifically states where 10-round magazines are the biggest mag that you can legally possess. States like Massachusetts. In that instance, you should be running 10 rounds or less already. You don't really have a choice. I know people have made the argument that, California or Washington, some other states around the country, they have either 10 or 15 round magazine restrictions. And my understanding is, for the most part, that has to do with the purchase and transfer of new magazines that are quote-unquote high capacity. Has nothing to do with the actual utilization of those magazines. Again, that's my understanding. I could be wrong on that. I'm no legal expert. But in states like Massachusetts, where 10 rounds is the hard limit, like if you have more than that in a magazine, you're committing, a crime. That's a big deal. And in those states, they should be running 10 rounds or less already. So if you're shooting open division, if you're shooting limited, now limited is L10 essentially, there's revolver and single stack. So you already have plenty of places to play. And again, if you're in a restricted state that's that barbaric, you already have to abide by that rule set, those laws. So I don't think it actually affects those people in the way that most people think. It does affect people from, say, Washington or California or some of the states, Colorado, for example, that have those limitations that then come out of those restricted states to compete at a national level. So, say you're flying from Massachusetts or Washington State to Talladega, Alabama for the USPSA National Championship. It'll be a lot easier for a regular free American living in Arizona or Texas or somewhere where you can legally purchase property to acquire and possess and maintain standard capacity magazines, where somebody out of Massachusetts probably doesn't have that ability. So I think that's the biggest negative from a competitor's standpoint if they live in a restricted state. I absolutely think it'll increase participation in the division, which is the whole point. Like, production should be an entry-level standard division that doesn't cost thousands and thousands of dollars to be competitive in. That's kind of my 2 cents. Again, I'm sure there are a bunch of reasons why USPSA shouldn't do it, but I do think that the pros outweigh the cons. And like I said, in everything, it's a balancing act. It's not all good, all bad. There's a gray area. I think USPSA is doing the best they can. And in this instance, they absolutely made a beneficial change to the production rule set. I'd be interested to hear your opinion, whether you agree with me or vehemently disagree with me. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I'll do my best to read them and respond when I can. And anyway, my name's Nils Jonassen. This is February 1st, and USPSA just changed the production mag capacity from 10 to 15 rounds. See you around.